Hi, good morning, love. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm good. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man. So let's start today's live stream. And what are we discussing? Cloud today?
Yeah, very interesting topic today, sir. Cloud security, because every company nowadays is on cloud. Mostly everybody is using nowadays. So definitely, in terms of cloud security, we need to have some session, right?
Yeah. So cloud has become an inescapable part of organizations,
Right.
users, uh, whether it is big or small. Okay. As we speak, we are using the cloud. Okay. As we speak right now, you can understand this service is hosted somewhere in the cloud,
Yes.
and we are right now speaking. It is getting streamed on LinkedIn, it is getting streamed on YouTube.
Right.
Okay. LinkedIn will definitely have a backend cloud, because
Right.
LinkedIn is a Microsoft services. I take it that their entire infrastructure would be running on Azure. Okay.
Yes.
But to create high availability, it it is quite possible that LinkedIn would have taken some resources where their own presence is not there. So it might
Right.
be a shared or a hybrid cloud arrangement. So this is just theoretically talking. So first thing is we should understand the genesis of cloud, right?
Right.
For
Right.
a lot of newcomers, cloud might be something very very obvious, but that's not the case. We have to understand the genesis of what is cloud, right?
Right. Right.
So when once we look at the overall growth and the trajectory which computing systems have followed, okay, it has come, not today. It has been there for last almost 60 odd years, right? 60,
Right.
65 years. The early computing era started in the 1950s. Okay.
Right.
Main organizations were NASA, IBM, right? This IBM was one of the earliest, companies to actually develop computing systems.
Yes.
So if you look at the growth of the trajectory of the computing systems, it started from computers as large as a football ground, right?
Right. Right.
And then there are certain Moore's law and uh, you know certain principles which over a period of time computing systems started shrinking, and today you have a computer, in your hand. Your
Right.
iPhone,
Right.
your Android phone are computers which are probably 10 years back the size of a desktop, right?
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
that is the development which has taken place. So today you're talking about a mobile phone with a 32 GB RAM. you know
Right.
Today
Right.
you're talking about much higher. I mean, I've heard of phones with 128 GB RAM. I said,
Oh,
whereas I remember my first computer system which I assembled, I didn't even buy, I assembled, was 8 MB RAM,
wow.
right? So look at the growth of computing speed. So what
Right.
happened once computing systems, became started becoming smaller? You had
Right.
certain computing power on your desktop, on your desk, either on a laptop or on a desktop device. But major storage of information started happening at the servers which were located in big rooms in organizations, right? So you had a huge computing processing facility and
Yes.
users working on smaller computing systems, right?
Yes.
But the moment the internet came in, these big computers could be networked and the information could be shared, right? And then over time, there was a dot-com bubble in the late 90s, early 2000, and
Right.
from there the client server model started coming into picture, where you could access websites, you could access information hosted on a server somewhere remote, and you can access it using a web browser.
Right.
Then we had networks becoming much more speedier, and computing systems becoming much more smaller, server systems becoming much more competent and smaller, coming based in the racks. Okay. So organizations once all this happened, organizations started building their own data centers, okay,
Right. Right.
to serve their customers, to serve their
Right.
applications. So they would house it in a big room, put some racks and servers, okay, and they would provide their applications to be accessed over the internet. But one of the major issues that happened was underutilization. They bought so much of
Definitely.
hardware, but what happened is they realized that they bought 10 servers, but at any given time, at a peak time, only two servers are getting utilized. The rest
Yeah.
all servers are underutilized. Okay,
Yes.
and this
Yes.
was a major problem, and your servers were getting obsolete every 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Your hardware is because the way computing speed was growing.
Yeah.
Okay, your servers and your hardware was getting redundant after 3 to 4 years. So you had to go for a capex model. You had to again buy hardware to replace the
Yes.
redundant hardware.
Yes.
Now, this somewhere became a pain point for a lot of organizations who were spending millions of dollars for replacement of hardware, maintaining these data centers. So what
Right.
happened? Bigger companies like Microsoft and data center companies, like what they did, they created huge infrastructures, and they started creating. And also to maintain this physical infrastructure, right? You needed a lot of air conditioning, your humidity levels, physical security access controls, so there was a lot of pain in managing these data centers and server rooms like this infrastructure. So companies started building data centers. Bigger companies like Microsoft, IBM, Dell, they started building data centers in prominent places. Okay, and this offered smaller companies to come and build their, keep their hardware in their data centers, right? So that they said that we will maintain the data center for you. You just maintain your hardware, right? So it was like a space given to you to maintain your hardware, because network speeds have started increasing. You could serve your customers from the data center. You could access your applications from by hosted them or data center, and the stress of physically managing these data centers was not there with you anymore. But the problem remained of underutilization. Okay. Now, if you look at cloud, cloud was I will say, cloud was not a new. Cloud is basically shared resource. So it was termed by NIST in the 1970s and 80s, if I'm not wrong. Cloud NIST termed
Right.
the shared resource model in a paper a long time back. Okay.
Right. Right. Yeah.
However, Amazon is someone which started uh, with a cloud data center, I think in 2008, if I'm not wrong. Okay,
Yes.
and it came up with the primary cloud services, and then a lot of companies came in who started building applications on top of those cloud infrastructure.
Right.
One of the prominent ones was Dropbox. Okay, Dropbox came in with a shared storage. That means you can keep your storage and you can pay a little money, and you can have storage on the cloud anywhere, and you can access your information anywhere, right? So this was the birth of cloud, and the way we have seen cloud growing, because now you do not have to maintain any server, any physical infrastructure. It's a boon, right? It's a boon and
Right.
not a bane. But yes,
Right.
somewhere down the line, once you start using cloud infrastructure, your
Right.
cost is something which you have to keep in mind. Your operational cost increases, your capital expenditure decreases, right?
Yes.
You do not have to spend upfront a lot of money on buying hardware. Okay, and somewhere down the line, it is only monthly expenses. So if you compute and if you calculate what will be your requirement, and you are very very streamlined, you can keep your costs in check, right? Like right
Right.
now I'm running 8 servers on AWS for my products, and I get billed for around $120, which is like very very neat arrangement for 8 machines which I need, right?
Right.
Imagine if I had to buy 8 servers or
Yeah.
even 2 servers with that much of configuration. I would have spent it upwards of almost $10,000,
Yeah.
and
Minimum. Minimum.
10,000 minimum, right? And any good server will come for roughly 3 to 4 thousand or $5,000, right? So ten
Minimum. Yeah.
thousand dollars upwards I had to spend, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now on cloud, I only spent like $100 per month. So in a year, I have spent only $800.
Right.
So my OPEX saves my CAPEX, right?
Yes.
Also,
Yes.
whenever I feel that my computing speed on the cloud is not meeting my requirement, I can scale up.
Yes.
When I see that the work is over, I can scale down.
Yes.
Okay. So imagine the amount of flexibility I have, right? I don't need an infrastructure. I delete it. I don't need it anymore. So
Right.
that means with by writing few lines of code, I can spin up infrastructure, I can spin down infrastructure,
Right.
right? Second thing is I can design infrastructure to handle peak load. That means I can always tell my infrastructure that look, I'm designing this infrastructure for 500 people, right? But if it goes to 700 people, please stretch yourself. I
Yeah.
give those limits. I can give those limits. So there's a very beautiful feature on the cloud of scalability and elasticity, and these
Yes.
are the one of the major, benefits of cloud.
Right.
But anything good comes with weaknesses. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so of course, if you have benefits, there will be loopholes, and
Yes.
security concerns will be there even also on cloud, right? So it's a boon, of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it might become a bane and a pain. So you have to evaluate that.
Right. So I think one more aspect towards that is utilization, right? You are only charged for what you are being utilizing. You're not charged for anything you're not utilizing, right?
Yeah, so that's the model called OPEX, right?
Yeah.
Operational expenditure. So whatever you're operating, you're expending. Now, what happens at times is this also becomes a pain. So you have spin up some infrastructure, you're using it, and now you've forgotten to wind it up. So if you've
Yeah.
forgotten to wind it up, you will get billed,
Yes.
right? And that's why it's very important to have run the code in a manner that you know when to spin it up and when to shut it down.
Right. Right.
So you need to have an oversight on your billing infrastructure, how billing is coming. Okay.
Right. Right. And so what about the overall governance in terms of information security, like you mentioned? Because definitely security has to be treated. I think cloud security risk would come under third party risk management, sir, if I'm not wrong.
No, it depends on how you look at cloud security. Okay, it may
Okay.
not come as third party risk. Okay,
Okay.
it definitely comes under something called shared responsibility model.
Okay.
Okay, now you see, a cloud infrastructure is available to you at all times. You
Right.
can go and buy, and it's yours.
Mhm.
The underlying hardware belongs to the cloud service provider,
Yes.
but the services which you are utilizing, it gives you a virtual infrastructure of your own.
Right.
So the underlying hardware responsibility is with the vendor, but the infrastructure which you have created, your virtual private infrastructure which you have created, it will be your responsibility. So it is going to be shared responsibility model. That is the first
Okay.
part. It may not be a third party risk. You cannot, because third party risks are owned by third parties,
Right.
right? In this case, cloud may not own your third party risk
Yeah, because we are also a part of it, right? Yeah.
because we are also a part of it. you are
Got
you
it.
are spinning up a infrastructure inside the cloud, so it's a shared responsibility model and not a third party risk.
Very, very good clarification, sir. Many people are confused between these two only. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So people think that third party risk is shared responsibility. No. Shared
Yeah.
responsibility means you have your set of responsibilities, I have my set of responsibilities. I will take care
Yeah.
of my responsibilities, you take care of it. Whereas
Right.
third party risk is the risk is known, and you pass on the risk to the third party, and you make him comply to your standards.
Right.
Otherwise, you can say, I don't want your services,
Right. Right.
right? Where in the cloud is saying, look, I have to meet the standards, I have met my standards. Now it's your responsibility to take care of security beyond this. Up to this,
Right.
it's my responsibility. I'll take care. If I do not meet the standards, it's me who's going to get penalized. It's me who is going to have a standing SLA with you. Okay, that in case because of my uh, negligence or my problems at my end, I end up uh, you know having a security breach, I'll be held responsible. But beyond this, beyond this infrastructure, anything which you are taking is your responsibility. Now, let me tell
Right.
you very simple, give you a very simple example. Okay, on all the cloud infrastructure, whether you go to AWS, whether you go to OCI, GCP, Azure, Alibaba, right? And there are a lot of local clouds, VM and V2, and so there are a lot of cloud, service providers these days. There are local cloud service providers, right?
Right.
Now, now I go to the cloud service provider and I say, look, I want a virtual private cloud. Now, what's a virtual private cloud? A virtual private cloud is a secure, it's a perimeter
Right.
for your organization, right? And
Yeah.
inside that perimeter, you spin up a storage. Say you
Right.
spin up a 50 GB or a 100 GB storage, right? Now, in most of the organizations, this 100 GB storage, you can give an access to the public, that means through the internet, or you can restrict the access to the internet, right?
Right. Right.
Right. Now in AWS, it's called S3 buckets. S3
Right.
is a service which gives you storage facility, right? So it's called S3 buckets. Now, there was a time when AWS had made a configuration where the moment you spin up a S3 bucket, it could be accessed publicly by default. So by default, it was a public arrangement. Now, unless you make it private, it will used to remain public. So by imagine you spinned up a storage and you are not aware that this storage bucket is could be accessed publicly. You keep
Right.
putting data inside and anybody could access it,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of organizations had data exposure because of this particular issue. And then finally, AWS made it a private. So by default, it made it private. So somewhere down the line, AWS also did not pay the secure by default, you know, principle. So
Right.
ideally, if it's in my virtual private cloud, it should be private. It cannot be
Right.
public, right?
Right.
So then AWS corrected that mistake, and but it used to tell that your bucket is public. You need to make it private. But
Yeah.
unless somebody is not aware, they might ignore it, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, it's a shared responsibility model.
Okay. Okay.
Now there are a lot of governance frameworks which are available on the cloud. Okay, like AWS gives something called AWS Best Security. AWS has its own framework, right? Okay, so you can follow that. AWS also provides you, frameworks which are mapped to PCI DSS,
Okay.
frameworks which are mapped to NIST, right?
Okay.
So you can select a framework, and AWS can easily give you the parameters which are required for compliance to your uh, some regulatory framework, right?
Yeah.
Besides that, if you are in cloud, you can follow NIST's framework for governance
Right.
and security management. You can also use ISO standards, right?
Right.
And there are regional specific standards, but these two are world over. You can use the NIST's governance framework, and you can use also the
Yeah.
ISO governance framework, right?
Yeah.
Most of the cloud service provider give you their own frameworks which are mapped to either NIST, generally to NIST, right? And also to CIS controls. But industry specific sector, like AWS gives you GDPR compliance, AWS gives you PCI DSS compliance, right? So it can easily give you what are your require what your configuration, whether it's meeting the compliance requirements of your given sector, and it will charge you some money for everything.
Right. So I have heard about Cloud Security Alliance also, CSA. What is that?
So Cloud Security Alliance is a non-profit organization
Okay. Okay.
which gives you some good certifications. One
Okay.
of the primary being CCSK. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
and it's a renowned certification, and it's free. The
It's free.
the Yes, it's free. Not the certification is not free. The training is free.
Okay.
So
Okay.
CCSK gives you the material for free. You can just go study the material. For exam, you have to pay some amount, I think 150 or $200. Okay, so you pay the amount and you can get yourself CCSK certified.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. So one more thing in terms of cloud, since we are discussing today, there is a new term altogether called CASB, Cloud Access Security Broker. So what is this term, sir? If you can elaborate.
Okay, love, have you ever used VPN?
Yes.
Okay, so what is a VPN? VPN is a device which is
Yeah.
kept somewhere in your office. Okay, either it's a concentrator, VPN concentrator, or it's a VPN, or it's a firewall which has a built-in VPN server, right? So if you are a remote user or a user who is not working from office, or a mobile user who continuously travels, and you need a secure gateway to access your company resources. So what used to happen is you are given a VPN client, you log into your firewall, okay, you have a secure tunnel with your organization's VPN concentrator, and then you can access the resources of your organization securely, and also on the internet. Now this is a very problematic arrangement. You have to, if you have 3000 remote users, you have to generate 3000 username and passwords for your clients. uh, Also, VPN is very rigid, right? It's just a tunnel. It's not highly programmable. It's not a highly manageable. You cannot have zero trust built between your user and yourself. Okay, you cannot, other than username and password and maybe a MFA, nothing can, it just takes care of the communication security. But the world
Oh,
has changed today. You are dependent on multi-cloud applications,
right. Right.
right? At one place you might be accessing Salesforce CRM for your s- your CRM requirements. Your finance team might be accessing Tally Cloud for their financial requirements,
Mhm.
account requirements. Your HR will be accessing some HR SaaS platform for their HR requirements. Your graphics team might be accessing Canva. Your software development team might be accessing, a lot of, maybe GitHub. Right now, the look at the challenges. So either you are security ignorant and you tell them that you use your own personal accounts to access these applications, but that would be a very, very bad arrangement. You
Right.
have a generally a identity and access management service which is a centralized in nature. And now you would like that all your applications, whether hosted inside your organization, hosted on cloud, or software as a service, are accessed in a secure manner, because ultimately security is all about access control,
Okay.
right? If you look at security, the major part of security is all about access control. Who is accessing your resource, isn't it?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Right. So that means if you have a remote workforce, you have everyone working from somewhere else, you don't know who is what, then you need a very, very secure tunnel or a secure entry point where you can identify who is coming to access your organizational resources, whether the device which is trying to access matches the organizational requirements. Okay, so there are baselining. It can you evaluate if there is a security threat from your device, from the person. Okay, so there are multiple factors which needs to be evaluated to grant you access. So cloud access security brokers or cloud access service brokers, what they basically do is they spin up a secure access point near your geographical location, which you can manage, your organization can manage and push in a lot of security policies in there. There's a policy engine running behind, and you can log into that policy engine. You can log into that small, gateway, and that gateway ensures that your device, the person who is accessing, the applications who are accessing, the resource which you are trying to access, is completely managed by your organization in a manner that it reduces security risks. So a lot of modern day risk of accessing cloud can be lowered by having a CASB solution.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's
And
kind of a secure
yeah,
edge. It's giving you a secure edge to access your applications.
right, right. And so one more thing in terms of getting assurance from an audit perspective, what can we have from a cloud vendor? Is it the SOC 2 report only that we are relying upon in terms of getting assurance from audit perspective?
No, so it is a lot of regional regulations will work. Okay, we have
Okay,
to evaluate that. Like if you are in US, okay, and if you are a government organization and you want to use some cloud services, your
right.
cloud services have to be FedRAMP certified.
FedRAMP. Okay, okay,
Yes. Okay. Not only if you are in US, if you are even in India and you want your cloud SaaS applications to be used by US government agencies, you have to go for a FedRAMP certification.
okay,
Now, FedRAMP for going for FedRAMP certification, you have to implement NIST SP 853 controls.
okay, okay.
Okay, so that is one requirement for US, right? Now, if you go to Middle East, countries like Saudi, they don't let you use any public cloud unless the data center is hosted inside their country,
Right.
right? So data residency becomes a major issue for using cloud services, and you have to evaluate data residency issues for your local requirements, regulatory requirements. Now, RBI will have its own regulatory requirement. SEBI will have its own regulatory requirement. So it has to be regional specific. So major concern in most of the cloud service provider or using cloud services would be data residency issues. Where is the
Okay,
data going to get located?
okay, okay. Got it, sir. And in terms of privacy being an issue and all these compliances like we have GDPR, HIPAA, can we still, let's say it's a hospital, it's a healthcare sector, still can they use cloud for storing all this information? Or because
Yes, why not? In fact, I believe that, if you configure the cloud properly, okay, cloud is one of the most, cost efficient
okay,
and most secure. I'll say definitely more secure if you do not have adequate manpower. Okay,
okay,
if you do not have a system admin, a IT admin, a firewall admin, network security guy, a endpoint security. So if you do not have too many resources to manage on your own, cloud is definitely a very good proposition for small big. I have worked for big companies where only me and one more cloud administrator were handling the infrastructure for upwards of 1,000 users.
okay.
So we were managing it and we never had a break.
Hmm.
So it is,
Got it.
I say that cloud, if configured properly, can take away a lot of your headaches, can reduce your cost drastically. Okay. And you do not have to worry about your IT, you know, if configured properly.
Okay, okay. So let's say, sir, there's a traditional company. Let's say there's a 20 years old company. From the beginning only, they were entirely dependent into their own on-premise data center. Now, definitely it would be a transition for them to go to cloud at the beginning. Definitely, there would be different, apprehensions in terms of what would happen and all. So how should they begin their transition? What should be the first step that they should do?
See, what I say is, first you'll definitely have to have a needs assessment, and somebody needs to work out that is your present arrangement working secure, okay, and meeting your requirement. If it is meeting a requirement, then you have to work out what is your capital expenditure versus what will be your operational expenditure. Because ultimately, business is all about profit and loss, making
Right,
money, right?
right, right.
So what is your revenue cost? Okay, so if you are happy with capex, then you continue with capex. But the moment you compare that comparison, you'll come to know that your capex is very high compared to the opex, and you need to have a 5-year horizon and a 10-year horizon. You see in 10 years what are your capex going to be, and with this what your opex is going to be. Because the moment you move to cloud, there are a lot of your suddenly you will see you are saving a lot of cost. Okay, first is the infrastructure cost, second is the maintenance cost, electricity. Okay, you are saving on manpower, you're not spending too much on your IT resources now. Okay, because you've hired just 2 or 3 people who are managing the cloud for you.
Right.
There are today cloud service partners available who can manage the infrastructure for you, right? So your lot of worries goes away, but security worries come in. Now you have to access either your applications or your infrastructure on the cloud. So now you need some access broking or some kind of arrangement where your employees or your users are accessing the cloud in a secure manner. The applications which are hosted in the cloud have been configured securely. The infrastructure which you have spinned up inside the cloud is, you know, spinned up in a secure manner. So you have to carry out that needs analysis versus cost analysis, okay, over a long-term perspective, at least 5 years. Then you will see whether you save or not, and in most of the cases, it will save. So anyone who has the existing resources, we have seen a lot of bigger migrations across the world. Okay, banks moving on to cloud infrastructure. So definitely there is a benefit, and people will move to cloud because of uh, a lot of cost saving and a lot of ease of security management.
Right. Sir, one more question. In terms of public cloud versus private cloud, which one is more secure, and which one should a company go for?
So, public cloud versus private cloud, will this debate will continue, and I personally feel public cloud, right? Because there
Okay.
is the moment is public, anything which is open, it's security is supposed to be open. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so if you see Kirchhoff's principle, something which is not open, okay, cannot be considered as secure,
Okay.
right? So if you have an open architecture, if you have an open, I will say, you know, visibility, right? You will gain more trust. I feel it's my personal opinion.
Definitely. That is there. That is there. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it, sir. More or less. Any
Okay.
any any questions that we have today from audience? I don't think so. Sachin only picked, but he didn't ask any question.
Okay. Okay. Right. So let's call it a day. I think we had a short and simple discussion on cloud security and cloud aspects. Right. Now, if you want to really skill up on cloud, I can give you suggestions. If you want to learn cloud, AWS is one of the best places to learn cloud. Okay, AWS and Azure both have some very mature content on their websites. You can straight away learn AWS. And if you want to go for security, AWS has its own security certificate called AWS Security Specialty, and Azure has also got its own security specialty certification called AZ 500. Right. So those are the best two for certification. And if you want to go for a cloud agnostic cloud governance and risk management certification, then CCSP, Certified Cloud Security Professional, and CCSK are good certifications to have once you are looking to scale up on the cloud journey.
Now, sir, what is the difference between CCSP, CCSK?
CCSP is given by ISC squared, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
CCSK is given by Cloud Security Alliance. Both are two
Okay.
non-profit organizations.
Okay. Okay. At the same level of requirements and all, or is it a different
No,
thing?
I will say I'll grant the IC square courses are much difficult to clear, to be frank.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So ISC square maintains a certain standard of difficulties, and definitely you have to put in that effort to pass exam. It takes 2 months, 2 to 3 months
Okay.
of preparation for
Okay.
passing CCS. But CCS can be passed within 2 to 3 weeks of preparation if you have been working on cloud.
Okay. One more question now, since you have touched on CCSP, now it's come to my mind. So somebody who is actually working in the cloud industry, so is that already there on the security side of things for last 5 years and all. So
Mhm.
this person now, should he go for CISSP or CCSP, and what should be the deciding factor now?
If you are working in cloud or not,
Yeah.
I always say, but if you are a security professional or not, if you have anything to do with information, okay, anything to do with information, please do CISSP. I have no doubts about it.
Best answer
Then
ever,
only
sir.
you will,
Best answer ever.
yes,
Yeah.
then only you will ever grasp everything that is happening around you.
I want to clap right now, but it's okay. It's actually, yeah, it's actually the best answer ever. Actually, yeah, yeah.
Okay, if
And
you
you're
want
and
to
you're
become
100%
a,
right. And you're 100% right, sir. Which is
yeah,
absolutely true. Yeah,
yeah, because I myself, because when I came in, I also came in with no knowledge. To
yeah,
be frank, I've worked in security for quite some time, but how to shape up a governance, risk management, and compliance framework for an organization. To put that complete understanding, I don't think I have done so. I've studied for CISM, CISA, CCSP, everything. I will say if you are into information security and cyber security or IT professional or anything to do with the information, please get this beautiful certification called CISSP. It's a difficult. It's difficult. It's not easy. It's difficult. You have to slog, but you will reap the benefits. The ROI will be like nothing else. Okay,
yeah.
it's
100%, 100%.
if you are an Indian, it's the UPSC or IAS of information security and cyber security.
Definitely,
Let's be very clear, right?
definitely.
If
Yeah,
you want to compare, it's the IIT for what means IIT for engineers,
yeah,
CISSP is for information security
yeah. It is, it
professionals,
is, it is. Yeah,
right? So why not? You should get it, and then ride becomes easier. You tell me today, sir, please, can you pass the CCSP? I'll study for 3 weeks and I'll pass it.
definitely,
But I want to
definitely.
be a CISSP specialist. I said I can be a specialist only for one course.
Yeah.
I will only focus on one course. I could have done tens of certification, but once I did CISSP, I said I will only be physics wala. I will be CISSP wala.
Wow,
Okay.
wow. Very,
So
very nice.
and there is so much of scope. We have hardly 6,000 CISSPs in the country. Out of 1.4 billion people, there are only 6,000 CISSPs.
Wow,
Out of 40 million people in US, they have upwards of 1 lakh CISSPs, and we only have 6,000.
so great ratio
Whereas
difference.
we are the
Yeah,
technical manpower pool of the world.
yeah. Technical hub. Yeah, actually, yeah,
I don't deny it. I've been to all across the world, and I know that, right?
yeah. So there are a lot of appreciation and acknowledgements coming, but I think before that there is a question also, sir.
Yeah.
Come, Kamesh Iyer. Hello and good morning. I am a GRC specialist. Which certification would you recommend? Sir, would you like to take it or shall I take it?
It all depends on your experience set, Kamish. I take it you are a senior GRC specialist. If you are a senior GRC specialist, I have no doubts that you should jump into CISSP. Right. I always say, okay, but I don't know his experience set. So if you are looking at something quick, I will say CISM and CISA are both good certifications for GRC professional to have. C-Risk is also a one good. So combo is, I feel over a period of say 4 to 5 years, all infosec professionals and GRC professionals should have, they can start with CISM and CISA. Okay, so they understand information security management aspects and audit aspects. Top it up with C-Risk, right? And then put two jewels on the star, that is CISSP and CCSP.
And you're done for the day. Yeah,
And you're done for your life, I feel.
yeah. Actually, you're right.
And then keep skilling up on the compliances. Okay, you want to work in the credit card industry, go PCI DSS. You want to work in the privacy industry, okay, let's get GDPR compliance. You want to work in a law firm, let's get some legal security. You have to understand compliances as per industry needs. You want to work in
Yeah,
an Indian bank, get understand RBI CSF. And the best part is if you do these certifications, right, it's very easy and quick to interpret compliance requirements.
right, right. Sir, his comment is very good. If you can display it, maybe just by clicking on it, I think audience would like to see what he has written.
How, what? Okay, I want to
Yeah,
show it. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, just show it for once.
What can I show? Okay, I have to click it or something.
I would like, yeah, just click on it. Yeah, it would come
Okay,
up.
yeah, I clicked it. I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate and acknowledge your efforts in helping the infosec profession shaping their career. Okay, thanks, Kamesh. Thank you so much. And yeah, yeah. So cloud security, Kamesh, I feel you can first go in with CCSK, right? If you want to, I will say first get a cloud understanding, and best
Basic.
part would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
get AWS Cloud Foundation.
Best course ever. Yeah.
Understand? Yeah, best course ever, free course.
Best course ever.
Just
Yeah.
go download the content from AWS website, and just understand how cloud works, what are the issues, and then go for either CCSK or CCSP. Both are good enough for a GRC professional.
But for testing the waters, I think, sir, you said right. AWS Foundation for testing the waters.
You should
Yeah.
always know. See, if you want to audit something, you want to test something, you have to understand how it runs.
Right. Right. Right.
You want to buy the best car and you don't know driving,
Right.
and you
That's why.
hire a driver.
Yeah, that's why most of the LAs are joining LI, right? Because they now understand that without implementation, you can't do what.
See, when
That,
I did LA,
yeah.
before LA, I said, how can I? Because see, I've been in armed forces, right? And when the auditors used to come to audit us on a lot of aspects, right? And we also used to send as auditor to other places to audit them.
Right. Right.
Why? Because we already so in armed forces, what used to happen, you have to be physically very fit, right? Even at
Right.
the age of 40, we had to clear 5 kilometer with a weapon within 26, 27 minutes, right? Now imagine I'm as the boss of my unit and running at 40 years, with a weapon and a backpack with my boys, with my troops, okay, and coming almost at par with the younger guys, right? Now, if I've run that, then only can I go to some other unit and check whether you guys can run or not, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So you need to know something to check test something. If you don't know, how will you check something, right?
Yeah. Uh, Pawan, you have my number and you call me. I think he's a staffing professional. He wants to start his career into cyber security. Would need assistance. Yeah. We can have a word,
That would
Pawan.
require Pawan. Yeah, that would require some more analysis, and you can get
Yeah.
in touch, and we can help
Shall
you.
I type my number, sir? It's fine if I type my number. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you are not very concerned about your own privacy.
No, no. Anyhow, it's already there out there. It's okay. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
she can
So you
reach
can
out to
call me up.
Ghazal. Yeah,
Yeah.
he can reach out
Yeah.
to Ghazal. Yeah.
Yeah. Just call me up, Pawan. We'll discuss. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good discussion, sir. Good discussion.
Right. And it's good that people ask questions, that becomes more,
Interactive. Yeah.
yeah, interactive.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, let's
Thank
call
you.
it a day. Yeah, we
Yeah. Yeah.
need to get ready for our work now.
Yeah. It's time to start the day. Yeah.
Yes, time to start the day. Right, Kamesh, thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. Right.